Yeah, the most memorable for me are where, and this goes to the heart of innovation, a great new capability that's been premised upon solving a problem. And as we get more complex and as new regulations come out and as the population ages, we're constantly having new problems evolve. So the greatest mergers that I've seen is when you took great capability and you merged it together with great distribution. There are just a plethora of innovations that never become commercial successes because you haven't been able to match up supply with demand. So distribution is really key. And then when we think about innovation and ultimately having it be sustainable over long periods of time, you have to focus on having there be healthy finances. And so mergers that have been able to take at-scale players, that is, players that are already profitable, with businesses that haven't yet gotten to that level of profitability, there's an opportunity to create synergies. And those synergies, actually, it's like putting air in the sails of a boat. You know, you're a small little company, it's like you're tacking and beating, I don't know whether you sail, but you're tacking and beating, going uphill, if you will. And mergers and acquisitions that allow you to basically put air or wind in your sails make all the sense in the world. And it's important to kind of keep it simple like that, is what am I getting from a particular partner or collaborator that I don't have on my own. But the thing that kind of creates a strategic advantage for me is talking to the entrepreneurs, because the themes that they're focused on are very consistent with where we want to ultimately put our dollars. They're big problems. They might not have solutions yet. And we call ourselves growth equity investors, which is to say that we're providing equity capital to people who don't necessarily have the revenues and the cash flow to support taking on debt. So we make equity investments. And you know that the investment value chain starts out with angel investors, then goes to early stage institutional investors, and then as you move down the line to later stage venture capital, and then you get into private equity. So all along this spectrum, there's a need for capital. And at every one of these stages, to the extent that firms have access to greater capital, the folks down the line run the risk of potentially being boxed out. So I'm a big believer in getting involved earlier rather than later. Focus on that demand driver. Why does someone need what you have to offer? Why would they be willing to pay for it? And so really being able to get a crisp value proposition to a problem that doesn't have substitutes. And that's why I think it's always important to think in terms of, am I going to make somebody more efficient? Am I going to reduce their cost? Am I going to increase their revenue? Am I going to be able to enable them to make better decisions? Those four value propositions cover everything.